Hi. This screencast is a bit of a follow-on to a conversation I was having with Greg Wilson of Software Carpentry about the utility of graphical debuggers. I was claiming that graphical debuggers become useless when you're trying to debug complex things like asynchronous JavaScript code. But I went and did my homework, and it turns out that it's actually not too bad to do in Chrome. And I have to say, sorry, Greg, turns out that it is kind of hard to do with Firefox, i.e. I haven't figured that one out yet. So to get into the developer console is really easy. A lot of people don't realize it, but Chrome and Firefox and presumably other major browsers ship with a whole suite of developer tools already installed and ready to go. So you can just go under View Developer and find the developer tools. On Firefox, you'll find it in a different location. I believe it's under Tools. And here we have, under Sources, the list of all the files that were loaded by the browser to render this particular page. The JavaScript that I coded up to do some fairly simple URL munging is under Assets in nbview.js. So you can see here that this is an asynchronous call, right? It's wrapped in a document ready call, and it registers this function that's going to do some jQuery and then do a loop over some things. This is kind of magic. The jQuery each is a little confusing to me maybe, so I'm just going to click and put a breakpoint on the first line that I really understand, where I'm just setting a variable to the contents of the href of the identified link. So to run the page rendering process with that breakpoint enabled, all we do is hit reload and give it a moment, and you'll see that we are now paused in the debugger. Right? Unfortunately, here I'm scrolling with the trackpad, I'm hitting the arrows to go up and down. None of that works. So a quick hack you need to know, if you go over to the JavaScript console, that's another tab in the developer tools, you can execute the command window.scrollTo and just give it a large number. Right? 1600 is longer than the length of the page I'm looking at. And you do want to set that second parameter as a large number. So that scrolls me down, and you can see there's my link, notebook from Matthew, and it doesn't yet have an NB viewer link next to it. So let's go back to our JavaScript. Right, so I'm not so interested in the call stack right now, so I'm going to collapse that and look at the scope variables. Right, so we can see that there's a variable called munged, but it's not yet defined. Go ahead and do a step over in the debugger, and now munged has been defined to be the URL from that link. Note that it starts with https://. Right, and then all that's going to happen in this next line, again, we're going to keep using step over. If you're familiar with other graphical debuggers, you're probably familiar with stepping into and stepping out of. But for now, we're just going to use this step over function, right, which is going to be what you're going to want to use to just stay in the context that you're in. Step over that, and you'll see that the HTTPS has been removed from the beginning of that variable. And one more step, right? You're going to get some jQuery magic. It's operating on this. You'll notice if I hover over this, it shows where in the page, it highlights in blue, that link. Right, so basically this after call just inserts some HTML after the element referred to by this. We'll go ahead and execute that, and voila, you can see that that NB viewer link has been added. So we'll go ahead and resume regular running of our web page. And there we are. We can close the developer console, and we're back to normal everyday web browser.